welcome to Political Paradigm. I am Terry Ikumi. My guest is the Minister of State for Labor and Employment. He is also the spokesperson for the APC Presidential Campaign Council. He is Barrister Festus Keyamo. Honorable Minister, welcome to Political Paradigm.
Thank you for inviting me.
We've pushed this for so long.
Yes.
Finally, we can have a no-holds-barred conversation.
You've been on my neck for like more than 3 months.
Absolutely. I mean, with the new position you now occupy, you've become very important to speak to. So let me begin by saying this. I think this is a very obvious question. Hopefully you saw this coming. Let's talk about your life as a lawyer, as a social activist, EFCC prosecutor, and now being actively involved in politics. There are those who believe that you cannot combine them. So the question is, how has it been for you moving from speaking for the people to now speak against political oppressors and now speaking for the politicians?
Well, thank you so much. And thank you also for the opportunity to respond to this type of insinuations. I don't always have the time to respond to this type of snide comments all over the place, especially on social media. But let me explain, this thoroughly to you. Activism is basically taking part in various active, activities, taking part in various activities that are pro-people, that are designed at all times to protect the interests of the masses and the people in general against the oppressive, tendencies of not only government, but the elites in society, the cabal, be they in government or business community or the capitalists in society, as it were, who want to exploit the people. Now, when I took the deliberate decision, it was a deliberate decision to say, I wanted to step into the ring and see how much I could contribute in terms of governance. Of course, then I joined the Action Congress of Nigeria in my state just before the formation of the APC. I discovered that there's only so much you can do as a private individual to affect so many lives. There's only so much you can do. But your best platform is when you have the opportunity to be part of the decision-making process. What can take you 15 years to achieve, you can achieve in 15 minutes. And I mean it, in 15 minutes, what you can take 15 years to achieve. Now, some people feel that, well, because you are not screaming on top of your head again on TV, on radio, in public spaces, and screaming at government, then that means you have abandoned your principles. Far from it. The reason why we do that at times as civil society activists is because you want to be heard at all costs. You need government to hear you and to hear your suggestions. Now, it will be very stupid of me to be part of the decision-making process every week in the Federal Executive Council, where everybody is there. Everybody but everybody, like I say, is there. From the president to the vice president to all the decision makers. We sit down every Wednesday to take decisions. And I have my opportunity inside that room to raise my hands up, and Mr. President recognizes me, and I make my contributions. Mostly according to my conscience, according to the oath of my office, and in defense of the people of this country. How can I then come out of that room and begin to scream again at government? That is plain to the gallery. That is stupidity. And that is what people, some people who are myopic expect to see. That you must come out of that kind of room and then begin to shout again. So the point I'm making, therefore, is that the best activism that you can engage in
is from within.
Is from within.
So I ask you this question.
It's from within, because that is where you make the most impact.
From being within, let's talk about the impact that you say you've made now.
Yes.
If you can quantify the impact you've made, would you say that there are some suggestions that you've had to make, being within, that haven't been followed, and how have you reacted to them?
Government is a collective. Government is always a collective, bunch, and so we have, a responsibility to defend government policies because you are part of that debate. You are part of the decision-making process. So, and of course, too that except you are, designated to speak to the press after the Federal Executive Council meeting and to tell them decisions we have made, you can't come out and begin to disagree in public with your colleagues to say, well, I went this way and they went that way. Because the moment you went into there, you took the oath of office. One, that you will not divulge information that you are not asked to divulge. Okay, so once you have made your points very strongly, it's a democracy within cabinet, but you are overruled and the president overrules you. That is it. You must get behind the decision of Mr. President. And so that is what we do.
So at what point?
The most important thing, therefore, is that you have the chance, which is the point I'm making. I can't claim to have the absolute knowledge of all, of all subjects in Nigeria, and that my suggestion must be accepted somewhere. We have a president and commander-in-chief. And so what you can do on behalf of the people of Nigeria, according to your conscience and your oath of office, is to make your point as strongly as you can within cabinet. And in most cases, they will accept. In most cases, you can see stronger arguments from your colleagues against your argument. But then the point I'm making, and to assure everybody out there, is that I come from the streets economy. I don't come from an elite club. I come from the streets. I come from an indigent home. And because of education, I worked my way up into government. And so I know where the shoe pinches. And they should understand and be rest assured that somebody like them, ordinary Nigerians, somebody like them is inside government speaking for them.
If you are inside speaking for the people, you have ideas that could change the lives of the people, and these ideas are not followed. At what point do you say that I can't be with a system?
For now, I know for now, and that is why I want them to trust some of us, that government is doing its absolute best. Absolute best.
Let me ask you this.
Even within tough situations.
Let me ask you this straightforward question. Does it bother you that the people for whom you used to speak...
No, who I still speak
Just
for.
a second. The people for whom you used to speak when
or
you were...
who they allege.
When you were on the other side.
You are using language that is subliminal.
I'm using straightforward language.
No, because that is what the press does in Nigeria.
You cannot expect the people...
Economy.
Just a second, Honorable Minister. You cannot expect the people to believe that as a politician, you are speaking for them in the same vein that you were speaking for them when you were out there.
Who are the people?
Nigerians who are not politicians.
No, these are the people who voted for this government.
Absolutely.
So let me tell you this. Let me ask you the mistake people make.
Let me ask you the question.
Can I finish?
But I'm asking you a question.
I want to make you know, to tell you that even the basis of your question is what in logic.
You don't know the question I'm about to ask.
No, even the foundation is wrong, because you see, in philosophy 101, you have logic and critical thinking. There's what you call a wrong premise that gives birth to a wrong conclusion. The premise you just said that people you used to speak for is wrong, because I still
If you let me land on the question, you would understand where I'm going with this.
Well,
the people you used to speak for, to an extent, no longer trust you, based on seeing that you've crossed to the other side. And some of them question the principles you preached at the time when you were on that side. And they question whether you were standing by those principles or just creating a pathway to the politics, to the opportunities you now enjoy, and perhaps the monetary gains.
So we come back to square one. What you just asked is wrong, because the people you used to speak for, I now speak for 15 million Nigerians who voted this government into power.
Not the others who did not vote those government.
Yeah, don't forget that people, human beings, voted for this government. Don't forget that this government enjoyed majority of vote twice, 2015 and 2019. So it is not for some Nigerians to arrogate to themselves the right to speak for Nigerians, or the right to gauge the conscience of Nigerians and sit down in their homes, carry their keyboards and begin to type on their keypads and they are the conscience of the nation. The real conscience of the nation are those people who voted for this government in 2015 and 2019. And on the mandate of those people, I speak and I stand. You cannot claim that Nigerians are not with us and we don't speak for Nigerians until another round of elections, where INEC, the only certified body to gauge the majority of opinions, go back again and test the opinions at the polls.
Mr. Keyamo,
the premise of your question is wrong.
No, you cannot tell me. You cannot, judge the premise of my question. The question is straightforward, because even you have just said that you only speak for the 15 million who voted for this administration.
Because that's how democracy works. No, I'm not saying only. I said on that mandate I stand.
But even you had started this conversation by saying that regardless of how people perceive you now.
No, some. They're entitled to
let me take you to your time with the late Gani Fawemi.
Yes.
What you learned under this man, who was an activist. Do you think that if he were alive today, he'd be proud of you joining politics?
He joined politics too. He will be very proud. Let me tell you why. Can I tell you why?
Please.
Just simply search your Google. Just Keyamo was one of the greatest supporters of Buhari before he died. He was a staunch, unrepentant, not only staunch, unrepentant supporter of Buhari. And he endorsed him for president in 2007 before he died. So he'll be very, very proud of where I stand today. Extremely proud that I'm part of the APC.
It is very clear in marketing that a good product requires little or no marketing. A good salesman can sell a good or a bad product. A bad salesman, however, will be unable to sell whether a good or a bad product. Now, there are reservations about your salesmanship. There are those who question whether or not you are a good salesman to sell a candidate like Tinubu, and we would come to whether or not he's a good or bad product to be sold. But for those who say that you sold Buhari in 2015 for re-election, and they wonder why, considering how this economy has turned out, how the state of the country is today, if they should trust you with whatever you say while trying to sell Tinubu.
Well, you are dragging me to an area that may take all our time in this interview. And this interview is for Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. So you are dragging me to an area. But let me answer you quickly. The opposition, in order to deceive Nigerians, they have memorized some highfalutin words and phrases that they use to confuse people. But when we drag them from those high-sounding words and phrases to the numbers, to the figures, they run away. Oh, the country has collapsed. Oh, Nigeria is dead. Oh, these are the highfalutin words, without going to the details. And that is what I call in philosophy 101 again. It's a fallacy of argument. What are the numbers? What are the figures? The people like Lai Mohammed and all that, we give you all the details. But let me just give you straight away that in the face of world economy now, Nigeria is not even doing badly at all. In the face of world economy. So I'll just make that straight statement to you. We are looking at two track records now, but same platform of APC. Don't forget that APC's platform you are talking about is also the Lagos platform too. Lagos is APC. So, if I choose to now talk about the record of APC as a record of Lagos as an APC platform, I'm also on solid ground to sell Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because on the Lagos platform, he had more direct impact and control. Even though, of course, he buys and salutes what Buhari has done generally, and he will improve on that. He has his own ideas. Don't forget that every leader comes with his own ideas and philosophies, even though it's the same platform, the APC platform.
You may have missed the question. That's why I'm interviewing. That's why I'm buttoning. You may have missed the question.
No, I didn't miss it.
I did say that we will talk about Asiwaju and what he stands for, and if he is capable of leading this country.
Yes.
But I want to exhaust conversations concerning you, talking about your pedigree to sell a candidate. That was the question. The question was about you. And
when I said selling Buhari in 2019 to Nigerians, I do not see anything that is wrong there. Because like I said, given the situation of the world as it is now, especially in terms of the economic situation of the world now, Buhari has done well. He may not have done well in terms of judging him by heavenly standards. He may not have done well in terms of judging him by utopian standards of utopia. You can't judge anybody really in terms of utopian standards. If not, everybody will fail. America will fail. Britain will fail. You must judge everybody based on the environment they find themselves. That's what I'm telling you. And guess what? In terms of world economics now, as I speak with you now, in terms of the percentage of inflation rise in the last 2-3 years, Nigeria is not the worst. It may not be the best, but it's not the worst. And even those countries you consider far better than Nigerians in terms of their social life and political life, they have done worse in terms of the economic rise, the rise in percentage of the inflation more than Nigeria. That's the point I'm making.
Okay, just to wrap up with you now, yes. You've repeatedly said, especially following concerns about your pushing for your resignation as minister. There have been concerns that you should resign as
There's
minister.
no concern. It's one CSO. They are
Just...
working for PDP. I know them. They are working for PDP. You see, let me tell you,
No,
PDP from day one, they have been very uncomfortable.
But
they are very uncomfortable. You see,
my question on this would have been this. While you say that there is no law that prevents you from holding this position and acting as spokesperson to the APC Presidential Campaign Council, some would question whether on grounds of morality you wouldn't do that. You wouldn't just honorably resign, because one of them would suffer. And most likely, your job as minister would suffer.
Now, you have been on my neck. Let me answer with you. You have been on my neck now for 3-4 weeks. And I said I'd have no time. I'm facing my work as minister. I now gave you a Sunday date where I'm relaxing at home. So let me tell Nigerians that we are doing this interview on a Sunday, not on a Monday I'm supposed to be at work. It's Sunday in my house that we are doing this interview. Ikomidan answers you.
So on Monday,
that's my spare time.
On Monday,
I'm in the ministry.
You'd be at the ministry, not the APC. Very well. Then let's. So
that answers you.
So clearly, there's no resignation plan.
How can I?
Very well.
I'm doing this on a Sunday.
Let's push to the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu now. You're selling a man with so many questions hanging around his neck.
No question.
There are questions about the source of his wealth. Allegations of being a former drug lord.
No, you must take one.
We will address that.
Yes, because you see, let me tell you this: what the mistake the press make. When you wrap all of it in one, then you deny me the opportunity to rest each and every one of them before Nigerians.
So the problem.
So you must take it one by one.
You are trying to preempt or direct my question.
No, but you're wrapping all of them now.
I am reading out my question to you. Let me land.
I want you to take the allegations one by one.
We will, but here's the question.
I will not go with your flow. One by one.
Minister, we shouldn't be having this back and forth. We will speak on them one after the other. But
yes,
I want to direct the conversation, not you. One of the things I've observed about the campaign so far is that the issue of corruption has not come up. She hasn't raised issues about the need to tackle corruption. Is that intentional?
I said when the manifesto comes out, you will see every single thing there about fighting corruption, about agriculture, about the economy, and everything. So wait for his manifesto to come out. Then you will now see every single bit of it there. Every single thing there, including the fighting of corruption.
So here's
why. Other campaigns.
Okay, so since you want me to take everything one after the other, let's stick with the issue of corruption.
Yes.
Former Minister of Works, Dayo Adeye,
yes,
in 2015, accused Bola Ahmed Tinubu of corruption and grabbing virtually all the lands in Lagos State. He accused him of monumental looting of the state and went further to say that Tinubu became stupendously rich, these are his words, at the expense of Lagos taxpayers' money. So that's why I asked if the decision to stay away from the conversations of corruption during this period of campaign so far has been intentional.
As a journalist now, you don't just pick an allegation of somebody to say, what is your view? I'll just say it is wrong, and I'll keep quiet.
If you say it is wrong, let's go ahead.
And I say it's wrong because it was a PDP member then.
Now, when we talk about corruption, elder statesman Bode George also...
PDP.
Let me speak. Also accused Tinubu. This is somebody who is of his age grade.
So that makes
accused him of the same corruption and says that he owns Alpha Beta, the company responsible for collection of tax, and has gone further to ask Tinubu to come out and say whether or not he owns Alpha Beta.
I am inviting everybody, the whole Nigeria, to go to CAC Abuja and get the simple document of Alpha Beta.
There are documents linked to his family members, payments being made through Alpha Beta accounts to his family members.
Just like to every other Nigerian. But you must get those documents here.
Let
me tell you this. I'll give you this example. Does it mean that Bola Ahmed Tinubu now as a person and his children, don't forget that he's not governor of Lagos State. So if you want to go strictly by the Code of Conduct Act, I'm talking law now. Since everybody wants to talk law, let us talk law. He's not governor of Lagos State. You mean that anybody related to him cannot go and beg for a small contract for them to give to him and they make payments to him? Why do Nigerians behave like this?
Are you aware that there's a petition which has been signed by over 25,000 Nigerians on change.org asking the US to revisit the drug issue related to Tinubu?
Are you aware that the United States government through their embassy in Lagos issued a letter in 2003 clearing him that there was no such case pending or conviction against him.
Are you also aware that he had forfeited over $1.4 million based on these drug allegation cases, links to those drug cases?
Are you aware that a forfeiture proceedings too, when you take money when they see money in your account in the US and you don't pay tax, they can take the tax out of your money. It doesn't have to be a criminal offense.
That is not the
case.
Are you aware?
No, I'm talking about
that particular case was linked to the drug issue relating to two Nigerians.
Are you aware?
These reports are everywhere.
Are you aware the US Embassy brought out a letter? So 5 million Nigerians can sign, 10 million Nigerians can sign. And guess what? Next year, Nigerians, not the Nigerian.org, we speak to the ballot box. Ballot box is not Nigerian.org. Ballot box is not Nigerian.org.
What do you make of the meeting between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Tinubu? Especially because the former president is saying that the Tinubu supporters could do more harm because they're trying to twist the story to sound as if he had endorsed Tinubu.
I've seen the Obi supporters too, twisting the story.
I'm asking you a direct question about Tinubu.
Well, I'm only telling you that people twist stories like.
Have
you heard anything?
What do you understand
from the campaign?
So I'm asking
I represent the campaign.
As spokesperson of the campaign, what was the fallout of that meeting?
Well, both leaders decided not to say anything about it. They said it was. Yesterday said it was a friendly visit between brothers.
You know, some persons were surprised that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu would go visit someone like Obasanjo, whom in 2015 he described as an election rigger.
So he stops by to say hello to him.
Not to seek his political blessings.
That is what they said. They said a friendly visit.
Your claim that former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has never had to make a final call. In one of his videos, he says that he's had to allow Atiku preside over FEC, the Federal Executive Council meeting, in his absence.
On a few occasions.
On a few occasions.
Good.
And certain decisions were taken. So when you hear a statement like that, do you still want to hold on to your claim that Atiku has never had to make a final call on anything or make big decisions?
I will repeat it 1 million times over. I'm a member of cabinet. Go and read section 153 of the 1999 Constitution that sets up the National Economic Council. And then, of course, the other schedule that elaborates on it, which is third schedule, section 19 of the third schedule. It says the decisions of the National Economic Council are advisory in nature. So, in other words, when the National Economic Council sits, they don't take decisions.
FEC, I mentioned.
No, I'll come to that. I'm coming to the powers of the Vice President. The strictly powers of the Vice President. They don't make decisions. They advise the President. And so, even at that, the Vice President cannot make any call there. As to the Federal Executive Council, in a few situations where, I'm a member of council, so I'm telling you this, where the President travels, the President may designate, and he may tell the Vice President before he goes, a few of the memos and how he's thinking about those memos. And the Vice President presides at those few meetings. But let me tell you that as a member of council, critical memos, the Vice President will step them down until the President comes. Now, again, just simply Google, search as to any time the President Obasanjo handed over to Atiku. You can even fact check the President, the Obasanjo himself. Because there's a super highway now. All presidential movements are well reported. Simply search and say, Atiku as acting president. It will bring out blank. There was no time he acted. Search Oshibajo. Search him acting as, you will see the whole page full. Oshibajo acting as president, exercising presidential powers. That's the difference between when Obasanjo acted, when Obasanjo was president and when Buhari was president. He never trusted him for 1 minute. That was in 2019. The context of that video was in 2019 when he was struggling to sell Atiku to Nigerians. And when that event collapsed, when he could not sell Nigerians and Nigerians rejected him, 3-4 weeks ago here, headline everywhere, he said, the greatest mistake I made in life was picking Vice President Atiku as my Vice President. So anybody who is relying on the 2019 video should rely on the statement of Obasanjo, the latest statement Obasanjo made, that it was his greatest mistake. What does that say? The person who is supposed to mark your script as Vice President is saying now that he made the greatest mistake. So you cannot reject one, you cannot accept one, supposedly, what he said, and then you close your eyes to what he just said 3-4 weeks ago. You cannot close your eyes. He said that was the greatest mistake he made. And somebody said, oh, well, he was chairman of a privatization council and all that. Privatization council. The decision to privatize, was he the one that made the final call? No. It was Obasanjo that made the final call to privatize. The decision to make him supervise the process, that decision was a fallout of a final decision that was made. So Obasanjo said, okay, supervise the process. And guess what? The first time he was put in charge of anything like that in this country, that was the disaster we saw with the privatization process. Alstom was sold. So many of these companies were sold at horrendous prices and to their cronies. It's there. And then the Senate committee in 2011 made a report on this. So I'm quoting the Senate committee. Go and see the Senate committee on this privatization in 2011. The remarks they made about Atiku and what he did in the privatization process. And that was the only assignment given to him, the only decision. Say, go and supervise this process and report back to me. So I am saying it confidently, and I'll say it 1 million times over. If they don't like it, I am sorry, they should. I'm saying facts now. That Atiku has not been in a position where day in, night out. You can't compare that to say a few fake decisions. Tinubu and Peter Obi, unfortunately, we know we're going to defeat him, but I'm just citing the two of them. They are ahead of Atiku. These were people who woke up every morning. They had to take the tough decision with their green biros to say, what do I do now about this problem, and that problem? And that is what Tinubu did in Lagos and turned Lagos around. I guess, at the point, I heard the PDP boys. They said we should be ashamed. We should be ashamed or to campaign for Tinubu, or that we look stupid to campaign for Tinubu. And I said, I am so proud, Ikomi, to campaign for a man who turned a raging ocean called the Barbish Ocean. He turned the raging ocean into a beautiful city we have today, the Eco-Atlantic City.
In 2015, you did say that you were referring to President Goodluck Jonathan at the time, that the elections would be based on insecurity, corruption, and the economy. And that's where we are right now. And sadly, that's where we are. And some would question whether we should separate Bola Ahmed Tinubu from this administration, even though it's the same party.
Well, we cannot separate him because he's APC on the ground that he's APC. But where we can separate him is that as a human being, different personality, and having seen his record in Lagos State, he has fresh ideas to bring into government. But take note, we are not saying, and then, you will see headlines somewhere, they will just take only that context I said. They said, you cannot separate Tinubu from Buhari, and boah, you'll see headline. That is the season of headlines. I don't mind. But you must also, quote me correctly. All I'm saying is that Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has his own manifesto too. He has his own ideas. How he ran Lagos, how people can see the record of Lagos. And that is more attributable to him because that is also an APC government. So you cannot take a part of APC and reject another part of APC. Or quote only one part of APC and reject the other part of APC. The APC record in Lagos that Asiwaju has championed over the years is a blueprint. I'm not saying he's governor of Lagos State, but he has been his blueprints. I'll give one example of his blueprints. The blueprint on the rail line, he drew up 7 rail lines before he left. They call it blue, green, rail line, red, and all that. That he drew, and all the corridors where those rail lines will pass. That template is what all governors of Lagos State are just coming to improve upon and to implement. As I speak with you, one of the rail lines is about to start. They have finished, manufacturing one particular rail line along one corridor of Lagos State. So it is his blueprint for development of Lagos State. So as a human being, Asiwaju has his own fresh ideas. He's bringing into government in areas where we have done well. He wants to improve also on those areas. In areas where we are still work in progress and we are facing challenges, he has fresh ideas altogether to bring because government is a continuum. No government will finish all the work it met on all the challenges it met on the ground. No government in the world.
Absolutely. I believe that one of those areas would have to be insecurity. And Ashewaju, in proffering solution, what he believes should be a solution to the insecurity problem in the country, sort of alluded to the fact that the country was unsafe to an extent. And that's against what this administration has repeatedly said, insisting that the country is safe, and the Buhari administration has done, to a great extent, some improvement compared to what used to be before 2015 under the PDP administration. But then Nigerians are concerned with the way this insecurity situation has gone out of hand in the country.
That is one of the highfalutin words again. Gone out of hand.
Nigerians want to know. Nigerians would like to know why they should trust the APC with insecurity.
Your foundation again is wrong. It has not gone out of hand. That's why I said that.
Do you feel safe in the country?
If we are not safe, why are we here?
I'm asking you a question.
Did you not drive here today? Were you attacked on the road?
Would you be free? Would you comfortably drive from Abuja? Just a second.
Let me finish.
No, you're honorable. You have tried to twist it to seem like we're using highfalutin words.
It's highfalutin.
So I'm asking you. So let's go into details. Yes. Would you drive from Abuja to Kaduna by road without security?
Some people do.
Would
some
you
don't.
drive?
Some don't. I can do it.
You will drive from here
I can
to
do
Kaduna by road without security.
I can do it. I can do it. Yes, I can. I saw headlines last week saying that I said that security generally in the country has been brought to an all-time low by Buhari. I did not say so. It is still the season of wrong headlines. I said, in particular, I separated the challenges, the separate challenges we are facing, the ones we met on the ground. And I said, Boko Haram in the northeast. I was specific. And so, but they quoted me generally to say Boko Haram throughout the whole country and security. I said, no. Boko Haram in the northeast has been reduced significantly. It has not been totally wiped out, but we have reduced it significantly. To the extent that, like I said, El Kanemi Football Club that went to play their football matches in Bauchi, they are back again to Maiduguri to play their matches. Almost all those roads that led to Chibok in Andamboa, in Bauchi, in Borno, they are now passable. Now, the issue of the farmers' headers crisis came to a head between 2017 and 2020. The World Terrorism Index says so. Says so, not me.
Came to an end?
No, we came to a height.
A height, okay.
Between 2017 and 2020, it came to a dizzying height. It was so much between 2017 and 2020. And the World Terrorism Index says that the attacks reduced so much in 2021 and then further reduced again right now in 2022. So it's a downward spiral in terms of the farmers' headers crisis. I'm separating them for you. In terms of the banditry and kidnappings, they are on the rise in the northwest and most parts of the middle belt. I have admitted that. But does that now take the tone of these highfalutin phrases? I'm coming to how we are tackling them, but I just want to link it to what I said earlier. Does it take the tone of the highfalutin language that we are using, that Nigeria has collapsed, security has gone out of hand, and blah, blah, blah? The problem we are facing with government, and all over the world it's like that, is that government can be right for 364 days. 364 days, they'll do beautiful things. Headlines that you will see, they will go unnoticed. Agriculture has gained, rice production has gone up. Nobody looks at that. One day, the bad boys only need to strike. Out of 365 days, one big bomb explosion, government has collapsed. That is the problem government faces. And what can we do? That is the kind of ring people put around to it. That once that incident happens, the whole of this year, there are 2 incidents we have faced. They have given us cause for concern, and I agree, it's a cause for concern. The Kaduna train attack and the attack on the correctional center in Abuja. Those are the 2 major attacks, large-scale attacks this year that we have noticed. But then there were other days this year too that people noticed they had peace, that people moved around the country too. And we have hope. We have hope because government has shown capacity before, in respect to these other challenges I mentioned, that before we hand over, before Buhari hands over to whoever Nigerians vote for, at that time, this incident would have been reduced to barest minimum.
What I wonder if they will trust you on now is the Muslim ticket. Yes, you've made your point clear on where you stand on it, saying it's a non-issue. But there are some persons, even within your party, that have raised eyebrows about it, questioning if it will not affect the chances of your party in 2023. And also, recently, Bishop Matthew Kuka, the Sokoto Archbishop, did say, he described it as totally reprehensible. What's your reaction to that?
We respect their views so much, but at the end of the day, Nigerians as a whole will decide. These are people who are not the barometer for where Nigerians stand. Some of these people, they have always been against us before. And we always won because Nigerians always decided at the end of the day.
Including Bishop Matthew Kuka?
He had always been critical of the APC and all his policies.
Strictly the APC?
Yes, and Buhari from the one. Oh, from the one. Kuka is not a politician support. Has he supported us?
But this is
has he ever told Nigerians to vote for APC?
So this is not him nudging the president to do better or the APC to do better. It's just a personal attack.
How can you as a Christian come and tell a political party who they should pick as their flag bearer? Is that your job as a religious person is to lead people to heaven, not to lead people to villa. Your mandate as a man of God is to lead people to heaven.
Are you saying
not to lead people to villa?
Did he tell the APC who to pick?
That is what they are saying. That's reprehensible, so we should go and change. And because a cleric says so, we should go and change.
Not for national unity.
That should go and change. And I said before that it has nothing to do with unity. It's just a winning strategy. It doesn't have nothing to do with unity at all. It's not a spite on the Christians. Muslims are a minority in the north, in the south. And Ashwaju is Muslim from south. So the Christians are minority in the north. So you want a ticket of minority. Minority Christian, minority Muslim in the south, okay, minority Christian in the north. And so we want to run on the ticket of minority. The press is just overplaying this. And like I said, look at Tinubu's record. Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu as a person. He was the one that returned all the mission schools to them in Lagos when he was governor. To the churches, he returned the mission schools to them. He has a religious home. Some of his children are Christians. His wife is a pastor. What's more? The chapel in Villa will be overly used because the wife automatically will be the pastor, will be attending that chapel. So the chapel will not be closed down. She will be using it when he is governor, when he is, by the grace of God, president of this country. So what is the fear there really about this whole thing? What is the fear? The issues about what we will do to raise non-oil revenues. You have heard Asiwaju already talking about cassava, agbado, and all that. This man is already forward thinking. And some people are laughing. They say, why is he talking about cassava, agbado? That is about agriculture. That's a euphemism for agriculture he's talking about. So you want him to say it's pizza. Pizza and what? What do you want to talk about? Something that is foreign to us? It is cassava and agbado those are our staple food. Those are the food we should promote. Next time we add yam to it, those who don't want to hear. He will add agbado, he will add corn, he will add rice, he will add yam, our staple food. So a president coming in is already promoting our local delicacy, and some people are laughing. And I laugh and say, how do you want to raise non-oil revenue? How do you want to promote agricultural produce if you don't talk about agbado and cassava? How?
I think Nigerians will really look forward to that manifesto to find out what exactly are the detailed plans he has for agriculture.
Exactly.
Let's shift a bit. Let's talk about other parties. Let's talk about the Labour Party. It was saying that you really believe that, at least to an extent, Peter Obi could give a good fight. You don't think he would win, of course, but you have also said that his chances outside the Southeast will not really be anything to go by. However, we have seen some crowds, even in the north. We have seen billboards being erected for him. Is the APC really dismissing his abilities or the possibility of him winning this thing, or is it just to hide the fear within the APC? You're not concerned about Peter Obi's chances?
No, we just know that he has brought color to the campaign. And we also know that he has taken some people away from certain criminal tendencies to political tendency. And we are happy for that. I won't say more than that. And they know what I'm talking about. I'm happy that some people have changed some of the flags they were carrying to the Labour Party flag. Some of the flags that were non-Nigerian flags. I'm happy that they have changed those flags to the Labour Party flag. That's where we always wanted them to come. We always wanted her to come into the political arena.
You know what you're doing? What you're doing is linking him with IPOB.
Oh, you just said so.
No, I know you're trying to.
You are saying so?
Are you bold enough to speak?
Just keep to my statement.
Would you be bold enough
to keep to my statement?
No, I know you to be a very bold person.
Keep to my statement.
I know you to be a very bold person.
We spend 5 minutes on this. Time is going.
If you want to address IPOB, say it. As
like
they say with your full chest. Anyways, let's.
We're just happy that he has brought them into the political arena. Some people that I know were not there before, that were some. They were taking over, they were taking after some criminal tendencies. That's my statement. Fela say, if you add that one, are you talking? Even Fela did not see everything with his full chest. Fela of all Fela. So we are happy. He brought them into the political arena. That is very good for us, and that's an excitement. So everybody should come and test their popularity.
But he cannot win this.
No, he cannot win it. The demography of Nigeria is too big for him. The demographic calculation of the entire Nigeria.
But he is spreading organically.
We are spreading too.
You are? Your party already exists in its large form. But within a short time, I don't think we've ever seen a political party spread as rapidly as
the CPC spread far more than this. We have seen this before.
Here's where I was going to.
We've seen this before.
Within a short time, without a coalition, you have a candidate in a party that was largely unpopular.
There was no coalition.
Suddenly.
CPC was no coalition. Let me tell you this. Until you are just bringing out one of our expo. Until a coalition was formed against the PDP, nobody stood a chance. 2015 was Oshobe. There was nobody lingering outside the house. Come under the APC, everybody. There was nobody standing outside. It was Oshobe. Go. And PDP went.
So the Speaker of the House of Representatives believes that the 2023 presidential election will be a 3-horse race. Do you agree with him?
The Speaker?
Yes.
Who is the third horse? Akwankwanso or who? I need to know the third horse.
How many? So what's your take? Where do you stand on this?
It's a 2-horse race.
Between who and who?
PDP and APC.
Not Peter Obi.
Why did you mention Kwankwanso?
But you had said that Peter Obi comes ahead of Atiku.
No, but I said no, but I mentioned Kwankwanso now.
I think you're mentioning Kwankwanso for the first time since you started granting interviews.
Ahead of Atiku, not in terms of votes, but in terms of the ability to take decisions. So you must quote me correctly. In terms of his executive ability to take decisions. That's why I say he's above all.
So you think it's a 2-horse race?
Yes.
Between the APC
and the PDP.
Yes.
But the 2-horse race, the second horse is coming behind though. He's breathless. He's already breathless, which is PDP. The second horse is breathless. He's almost falling. I'm sure you saw what is happening. In fact, Bode George says that a devil has entered inside the PDP. But let me add it to him. The devil has not only entered, the devil has called for a cup of cold beer inside the PDP. So the devil is only sitting there in PDP. He's drinking cold beer inside that PDP.
How will Tinubu win in Kano State? It's one of the major voting blocks.
You want to tell us? You want me to tell us Expo?
I mean, there's Kwankwaso.
We have a governor. We have a Ganduje.
There's Kwankwaso in the picture.
We have Ganduje there. He's governor of Kano State.
Inside sources say that Kano is split already.
Well, INEC will determine, not the inside source. INEC is the determinant. The inside source is not INEC.
So you don't think that Kwankwaso could pull an upset?
No, I think Ganduje has defeated him before. He will defeat him again.
One of the things that many Nigerians will want to question is if the APC government could not improve the employment situation in the country, in fact, made it worse compared to what they met in 2015.
They didn't make it worse.
They made it worse.
No, it became worse, but not that they made it worse.
Under the APC administration, it became worse.
It became higher. It became higher.
So if the APC administration, 7 years in, could not improve on the percentage of unemployed Nigerians, why should Nigerians trust another APC government under Tinubu to do that?
Because you see, at the point when we came in, nobody could predict that we could have another worldwide lockdown like we had the Spanish influenza of 1919. We had 3 great shocks that this government had to go through. 1, the recession. 2, the COVID-19 lockdown. And 3, the Russian-Ukrainian war. These were 3 major, And then, of course, at times, oil that went into negative digits. So 4, oil went to negative digits. So many times under this government. There was a time during the COVID-19 that oil was minus. The price of oil. In other words, you were paying for people to come and even evacuate your excess, crude oil. So these major shocks that we faced made sure, all over the world, the percentage went up. People lost their jobs and all of that. What did government do? The most important issue asked that how did government respond to these? And we have tons and tons of what we can talk about today. Like I said, other agencies will give the update. But let me just give the update. There was a full, there was a complete package of the COVID-19 response package. I'm sure you know about that. And let me tell you the one I implemented. First of all, we decided to give 1,000 Nigerians in every local government 60,000 naira each, just to reflate their pockets. In other parts of the world, people did not have to work. They deliver cash to their doorsteps. You know that in the United States. In UK right now, if you fact check me, they are giving £650 to certain classes of workers, just, response by governments, cash gifts. They are giving about £300 to pensioners, and they are giving £150 to disabled. Now, our own was just 60,000. And in 60,000, we're even saying that, look, they should even do some work. In our own case, just clear your environment, do some social work, in addition to the money we are giving to you. That's what we did. And I speak with you, I've heard snide comments on.
Well, was it 60 or 20?
60, it was 20 per month for 3 months. So total was 60,000. And we implemented it to a 98%, a degree. So we paid about 740 something or so. That is close to 774. It was 774,000.
774,000.
So it was 740 something thousand or thereabouts. Very few negligible, numbers remaining. Those were the ones who had challenges with their bank accounts or who wanted to cheat the government by double registration, double bank accounts. So we had a small, and then that shortfall, that small, balance, we are returning to the federation account. We returned it. But for all those who were paid, we have the records in the National Director of Employment. I have told them to make it public to any journalist that comes. I wanted to publish in my own normal transparent style, publish, but it contains the phone numbers, the bank account numbers, and the BVNs of individuals. And they said, no, Oga, we can't do this, we put the BVN out in public. But I wanted it to be published so that every single kobo can be traced to every bank account. That is how transparent we run it. And it is there.
Last year, when we talked, I asked you about how many jobs this government has created. You said at the time you were collating and you would have it ready. So I ask you again, how many jobs has been created or have been created by this administration since inception?
Both formal and informal is an ongoing process. We want authoritatively the NBC to release it so that it won't look like we're blowing our trumpets. But the only recognized agency to release such data is the NBC. Let me tell you why. Because it's a system-wide thing. Both agencies, some agencies are there, far-flung agencies and all that. And guess what? The job creation also is also a function of the states and local governments too, at that level. So it is not the responsibility of the federal government alone. If you look at the data now, I think released by the NBS, some of the states suffering the most unemployment, I think 4 or 5 of them, the first 4 or 5 of them are, not even APC states. So it's a function of both federal, state, and local governments. And so the NBC, National Bureau of Statistics, NBS, they are the only agency that are authorized to release those figures to the public. But it's a big job because it's an ongoing process.
If you don't have the details of the number of jobs that you've created, how will Asiwaju Bola Tinubu campaign on the basis of job creation?
I'm telling you that we have it. It's only the NBS that will collate and release so that we don't blow our trumpets. But the NBS authoritatively will give you the figures. Okay,
just as we wrap up, let's just wrap up on a political note. And it has to do with your candidate and his pedigree to take this country from where it is right now to at least a step beyond what Nigerians are experiencing right now. Because if we're being honest, 4 years may not be enough time to make that much progress that could turn the fortunes of the country around. But you agree with me that this country needs urgent rescuing. If those were your final words, definitely not, but if these were your final words to convince a cross-section of Nigerians who have doubts about the candidacy of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what would you say?
Look at what he has done in Lagos and the template he set for other governors in Lagos to adopt, which they have adopted faithfully till now. When he came to Lagos, we saw a lot of these boys hanging around garages, hanging around everywhere. They call them Omoniles and, they all kinds of names they call them, garage boys and all that. He used one stone to kill 100 birds at the same time. Let's take, for example, the traffic situation. He created the LASMA and then got a lot of these boys into LASMA and created jobs in that direction. At the same time, he was solving the traffic situation. Don't forget, the federal government even fought him on LASMA. They said, no, these are federal highways. You can't put LASMA on federal highways. He fought for his people. He fought for Lagos. He went to court, and the court said, Asiwaju, you are correct. The federal government may own the highways, but you own the right to direct traffic on those federal highways. And so he won the war for LASMA. Even these federal highways, at times you see every morning Lagos was dirty. You see all kinds of things they threw out of cars on this federal highway. What did he do? There were so many unemployed women in Lagos State. He used one stone to kill 100 birds there too. He said, look, whilst we are going to make sure the highways are clean, bring these women out. At every local government, every part of Lagos, he recruited these women, took them out of their homes and gave them jobs. That's why you see them sweeping Lagos highways every morning. They provided jobs for them. Asiwaju is a genius in job creation. In addition to what we have done, Asiwaju is going to bring his ingenuity into government. We have no doubt about this. Like I'm telling you that I am not doing this because I'm an APC member. I believe in Asiwaju 100%. I'm not doing this because I'm jobless. I'm sorry, I'll blow my trumpet. I have a big profession, a big practice to go back to. I am sorry, I do. For those people making snide comments, I do. I'm a silk already. I'll go back to a huge practice. But I'm doing this because I believe in Asiwaju. And not because I want anything from him. I want to even finish and go back to my practice of law. But I want to see Nigeria on the path of peace and progress. That's what I want to see Nigeria.
And to those who question his health, saying that he's too frail to lead this country, what would you say?
Asiwaju is not frail. Yesterday we traveled together to a part of this country for an event. I saw him climbing up and down stairs. I saw him climbing everywhere. These people that say somebody is frail, are they doctors? We have seen healthy men drop dead. We have seen it happen. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to taunt those families, and I apologize if my comments sound insensitive, but I've seen people since 2015 who predicted Buhari was going to die. They predicted. They are no more. Those people are no more. Young, healthy people who taunted Buhari and said he was going to die, that this one was looking so frail. I apologize, but today they are no more. But I'm saying it in a solemn manner to say that we should not play God. We should never, ever play God. Asiwaju is his brain we want, that we want to advance this country, and what he did for Lagos. What amuses me, Komi, and I want this to really be my final word. Don't cut this off. I've seen people who leave their homes all over the country, their states, and they come to Lagos to find comfort. I've seen governors who finish their tenures. They don't remain in their states. They come to Lagos to find comfort. And you are inside that Lagos and you come to find comfort, and you are abusing the architect of that modern Lagos, inside the Lagos. Young people go to clubs at night, no problem, no security problem in Lagos. If you know how Lagos was before with security problems, armed robbers at night, they killed so many chief executives in the night in Lagos. There was one prominent one under Falomo Bridge. They killed young people. But because of the relentless efforts of various governments in Lagos, and as championed by Asiwaju, people go to nightlife in Lagos, one of the best in Nigeria now. And in that nightlife, inside the club or the nightlife you are tweeting and abusing him, and you are enjoying security inside Lagos. The person who is the architect of that. My mother is Yoruba. I was brought up by a Yoruba mother. I know how to respect my elders. Even if I'm not going to vote for you, I will not abuse you. I will not taunt you. I'm not an Omoale. I will not do so.
I think it's only...
Asiwaju deserves his place in history. He deserves his respect. You cannot deny his record. You cannot.
I think it's only fair to ask you to possibly respond to those who have questions regarding his vice presidential candidate as well.
You see, in Shettima and Asiwaju, I'm sorry, we have two for the price of one. This nation is so blessed with these people. Let me tell you why. Because you have these two leaders who are both senators, former senators. One is even the present senator, and former governors. Some of the two governors who chose excellent successors, they are not afraid of intellectuals around them. You know that? These people, they bring the best around them. Shettima chose a professor. And look at Zulu, what he's doing now in Borno. And he built Borno during a war economy, Shettima. We are just so pleased. There is no other political party, as you speak now, that has this kind of tickets. This kind of legislative and executive experience. You don't have it in any party again. We have two for the price of one in APC. And guess what? It is not by magic that it is only Borno and Lagos states. I want you to note this. People have not noted this. It's only Borno and Lagos and maybe one or two other states that PDP has never ruled since 1999. It's no surprise that you have excellent people coming out of these two states. They have never fallen under the hammer of PDP. So devil has never entered those two states.
Mr. Festus Keyamo, I thank you very much for your time.
Yes,
and I wish you well. You have a difficult job.
It's an easy job with the records I just gave you.
Okay. I mean, I'm just... Anyways, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much.
And I wish you well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
God bless you.
Thank you. Well, that's Political Paradigm. Thank you for your time. Catch this interview and the others on YouTube. Simply search Political Paradigm or go to channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi.